What's up, y'all? So I know that this recent episode of Ready to Love was not an actual, typical episode. This was actually the 100th episode recap, and I watched it and I thought I would talk a little bit about it. So, I found the overall episode pretty cool. I will be honest, I did not watch the two Atlanta seasons. I started watching Ready to Love when they went on the resort, which was they were Houston-based singles, so that's when I started watching it. But I will be honest, watching these clips back from the Atlanta season, because they showed a lot of them, I'm feeling like I might want to watch it because y'all are a mess, and I'm from Atlanta, so I'm like, those are my people. But the episode, they talked about different moments on the show, like tough elimination, shady moments, the tasty moments we could have lived without, where they were like showing them beating each other. We didn't have to see that. We also saw some reunion moments and caught up on couples that have been together still. And I'm just like, I just want to know, was anybody a little bit hurt seeing some of those like fave couples from the end of the seasons that we knew they weren't together anymore, but it was just like, oh, I would have loved to have seen it based on what we saw on the show, because off the show we've learned different things. But so there wasn't really a couple from the resort season that I really wish was still together. We all know that Rashid and Simone are now together, even though they weren't a couple on the show. They're not just together, they are married. Not married, they're engaged. From the Houston season where they were actually back in Houston, I felt like the ultimate couple from that season was Jason and Liz. And I really wish they were together, because to me, they were honestly like the first success couple that didn't have like a ton of mess on the show. Like, yes, we know there was that love triangle between him, Kyra, and Liz, but it's in my mind, I'm like, before there was Clifton and Joy, before there was Rashid and Simone, there was Jason and Liz. And I just hate that I hate it for just what we knew of them on the show, but we don't, like, at least I personally don't know what was their problem afterwards, but I didn't think they would click for that long, because I don't think their personalities would last. But they were a lovely couple to see on the show. They did look good together at the time. And then when they moved to DC, who was the DC couple? Because that was a messy season. That I think the couple that us fans just really was rooting for was what is her name? It was Dante and Aisha. I think that's her name. And I, especially with what Aisha went through with Camille and Zadia, I was really, I like them, but he cheated on her, so I hate that for her. But they were like the it couple for that season. Potomac, of course, was Clifton and Joy. There's nobody from the Miami season, the last season, that we're just like, I pray. Because of the two couples that made it, Brandy and Mike, and Randall and, I can't even remember her name. Those two, Randall and his girl, didn't last. They weren't even together at the reunion. And then Brandy and Mike, I don't really know how they're doing, but I feel like nobody really cares about the first Miami season. And then this season, we're obviously still seeing unfold with the second Miami season. So it's just like, oh, well, we saw like 2 out of the, 4 or 5 that we just kind of were just like hoping for pop up. And it was cute to see. So some moments that just kind of really caught my attention was it seemed like the Atlanta season had a lot of messy moments. Dude with the eyeballs and the bald head was in the mix of it quite a bit. So I thought, I'm like I said, I'm like, I might want to see the Atlanta season because y'all are a fool, and I kind of like it. um, so I will be surprised that one moment that I was really surprised that we didn't see as like a, I guess, a shady moment, because this was not an elimination, even though it felt like it, was the whole thing between Zadia and Dante when she confronted him after everything happened, after she saw him leaning towards Aisha and she put her finger in his face. I'm surprised they didn't show that, because that was such a ugly moment right there. It was really ugly. I was like, oh Lord. So I was surprised they didn't show it. I was surprised when they were showing other couples that were still together. Lord, Camille and Cornelius. I'm surprised that they are still together. She's still making them ugly faces. And I'm still feeling like Cornelius, blink twice if you need help. Like, she just was not an appealing woman, and she still feels to have that same energy. And then who was it? Oh, Sabrina and Walter. That is just a weird, like, aesthetically, that is a weird couple, because he looks like her dad. Like, he looks like he had her in his early 20s or late teens, and he still got the young man look, and she just looks super young and like a baby next to him. I feel like the only reason why them being a couple gets some type of attention is because of the fact that it's just a funny thing that on his season he was supposed to, or tried to end up with that Sabrina, but he ended up with this Sabrina. So I feel like that what gets them a bit of attention are the Sabrinas, but I wasn't interested in their story. I didn't really care about how they got together. I don't know if that's also coming from the fact that Sabrina just was showing a little bit of ugly colors towards the end of her season. So it's just like, she's just one of those people that, I mean, good for you, girl, but I don't really care about what you got going on, because you just were not an appealing person to root for. They also showed that Courtney from the DC season, how she hosts these like not reunion, it feels like a reunion, but she's hosting these viewing parties of the show. I'm like, cool. Okay. I don't really care for it, but that's cool that they are hanging. Notice that you don't see Camille or Zadia in the group. There was something else. So it was it's okay. So to me, Rashid and Simone and Clifton and Joy are like the really big couples of the show, like as a whole. They are like the biggest success stories. Clearly, Joy and Clifton are getting their coins about it because they are also on the Love and Marriage DC. Rashid and Simone were brought back this recent Miami season, and he proposed to her. So it almost feels like a battle between the two. I do feel like Clifton and Joy do get more attention, and I think it's mainly because they actually were going through the process together and ended up together, whereas Simone and Rashid were after the fact. Because even though, like, I love watching Rashid and Simone's YouTube video, like when they review the episodes, Ages and Stages, I love it. But, Rashid is always talking about how he really wanted to choose her, Simone, and he tried to fight for her, but he just got outvoted. But that might be true. But dude, you still went hard for Adriana until she left you. Even though you started to see her ways, you still were going after homegirl. So you might have wanted Simone, but you still went after Adriana. So, but I do love them together. I think they look good together. I think they complement each other really well. So I love them. Clifton and Joy, they're a little bit hard to love because of how they treated Dakia. I mean, it just, I know this is like old news, but Dakia wasn't delusional in thinking she could have had something with Clifton because of how he treated her. You know, I would, if he didn't let her meet his ex, no, his best friend, because they met him along with Joy. So Joy and Dakia met his best friend at the same time. Then I wouldn't, if that didn't happen, I would be like, okay, Dakia, come on. But he led her on. And I think he just kind of led her on just to kind of not feel like, okay, you can't just only have one person going hard for you. You need at least maybe two or three going for you. And then you just hone in on that one at some point. So the fact that Joy just went off on her, it really hurt seeing, because they show Clifton and Joy towards the end, and then I can't remember exactly if they ended with Dakia talking about her finding her own love outside of the show, and now she's engaged. But it just brought back those memories. Like, I just felt that reunion was so hard to watch between them, and I know her feelings were really hurt over how they treated. So it's very much like they were gloating about their love, and they clearly are a great couple. They look good together. They complement each other's goofy personalities together. But what's his name? Clifton was a gaslighter, and Joy was a bully to her at the reunion. And if you put two and two, if you put the couple together with her, I'm like, don't make me mentally relive that. Like, I enjoy watching the DC, the Potomac season, but when you get to the reunion, I just can't, because I just remember I can't. But there was a lot of mess going on that reunion anyway. So I'm curious, who are you, like, if you had to choose, who would be the face of Ready to Love as like the ultimate success? Rashid and Simone or Clifton and Joy? I think people say Clifton and Joy. I feel like they are very much the face of Love and Ready to Love, because I hear other, like, when I watch interviews of people who got eliminated, they always talk about Clifton and Joy, because, like I said, we saw their story unfold fully on the show, whereas Rashid and Simone's was afterwards. Like, when it peaked, she was gone, I think, that same episode between Rashid and Simone. Another surprise was seeing Swayze and Katie. And because if you are onto social media, you might know that while they were together, they also seemed to break up. He called her crazy. He compared their love to a thin line between love and hate, that movie. And now they're back together. So you know what? Y'all give me a headache. Y'all give me a headache. So that was, it. Oh, and then Momeen said, "I'm still ready to love," off key as usual. So, it was much. It wasn't much to it. It was cute, Like I said, I follow them. I follow a lot of them on social media. So the things that I like, these couples I already knew about, minus the Atlanta couple. So it wasn't anything surprising. Some moments I was surprised wasn't there. Like I said, was the whole Zadia and Dante moment. Shoot, even Clifton and Joy versus Takia wasn't on there. I don't know if it's because they didn't want to show them in a negative light. But it was a nice, little episode. And then Tommy had a little surprise, I guess, party from Will Packer celebrating it, because, Tommy has been the host the whole time. And then there was a little message from Oprah. We always love a little Oprah moment. So I'm just ready for the new episode to come. We know it's going to be messy. We can tell that Miss Jeffrey is going to throw a dramatic queen moment, because I think she's afraid to show her... I think she's afraid to have an ex because it would show her true colors. And then Morgan, I think Tommy was like, "Morgan, what did you do?" I'm just curious if her blowout with Blake is going to come up in the ladies' lounge and how people are going to feel about her going off on him like that. I don't know. I personally think if Blake doesn't get eliminated this episode, the next men's lounge, I feel like he might bring it up. He might. But I don't know. All right, y'all. Let's we got a few more days. It's Tuesday night. Got 3 more days, and then we got our Ready to Love back on Fridays. Comment below what y'all thought about everything. Like my video, comment on my videos, subscribe, and let's get it popping because what's the show? I will be reviewing Put a Ring on It. I do really like that, especially since we've got a new doctor. And when the Bell Collectors come back, that too.